That first breath on a cruise feels like freedom, right? But behind the welcome grin is a spreadsheet that knows what you'll buy. The casino already tilted the tables last night. And you know, a crew member was recently caught hiding cameras in passenger cabins. 3 ex-crew are about to spill everything. We'll reveal which excursions aren't insured, and how to get perks 90% of guests never see. But before we start, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Secret decks where you'll never hear a kid scream. Marco, who made beds on ships for 6 years, let me in on a secret. He said, "If you head to deck 12 and look behind the laundry, there's this metal staircase hardly anyone knows about. It leads to a crew-only sun deck. If you ask nicely, maybe offer the officer on duty a cold soda from the canteen, you'll watch the sun melt into the ocean without a splashy soundtrack. Or a plastic deck chair digging into your ribs. Bring a paperback, take your trash with you, and you'll likely get waved back up the next night." Free laundry day. Every cruise has a turnaround bag day. Washers sit idle between ports. Ask your steward on morning 1, "Hey, is today guest laundry day?" If their eyes light up, hand over the bag of socks before noon. You'll get everything back folded and smelling like a dryer sheet. No folio charge. Just don't blab. The hotel director still swears the perk doesn't exist. The midnight sandwich. Room service menus clock out at 11 p.m., but the crew canteen keeps a panini press humming until 1 a.m. Ask your steward for a crew ham and cheese. They'll ping the galley, and 10 minutes later a foil-wrapped rectangle appears at your door. Tip $5, and you've unlocked the best snack on the ship that 90% of guests never taste. The casino is tilted more than a carnival ride. Lisa dealt cards for 5 years. And let me tell you, maritime law doesn't cap slot payouts, so the techs can just dial those machines down after any jackpot. One night you're playing an 8% house edge and, well, the next morning it's 18. If you absolutely must gamble, try sitting at the $5 blackjack tables with live shoes. It's a lot harder to tweak the math on the fly there. Food you'd never order on land, right? 60% of buffet food is actually cooked in Florida warehouses, then vacuum sealed, frozen, and reheated with steam. Those yellow scrambled eggs, that's just powder plus water. Prime rib, it's held at 140 degrees for hours under heat lamps. So honestly, stick to anything with a live chef and flames right in front of you. If it can sit under a sneeze guard, you might want to skip it. Excursions outsourced to who knows who. Cruise lines farm out excursions to the lowest bidder, and, well, some vendors carry zero liability coverage. Snap your ankle on a zipline in Cozumel, and the fine print says the fight's with the local guy. Good luck in a Mexican court. Book independently through U.S. licensed operators, or at least, screenshot your travel insurance app before you step off the pier. Hidden cameras in your cabin? Yeah, it's a real concern. Multiple lawsuits have actually been filed against Royal Caribbean after a steward hid pinhole cams in staterooms and recorded guests. That crew member, by the way, was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Now, the cruise line says it inspects cabins quarterly, but crew tell me the scans miss roughly 1 in 20 rooms. Here's a quick defense. The minute you drop your bags, just cover the vent above the desk and the motion sensor by the door with a washcloth. If it's moved the next day, march straight to guest services, request a new room, and make sure you get the complaint in writing before sail away. So, crime stats that vanish at sea. Let's talk about that. If your laptop vanishes, security might just hand you a travel insurance form and wish you luck. The FBI only boards U.S. ships or those docking at a U.S. port. Otherwise, your case falls under the flag state, Panama, the Bahamas, places where, honestly, paper trails go to die. Best thing you can do? Photograph every valuable, lock what you can in the safe, and email the photos to yourself before you leave home. Crew cabins. The size of your closet, no joke. Housekeeping staff bunk 4 to a 110 square foot room, and there are no windows. They work 10 to 14 hours a day, 7 months straight. There's 1 toilet per cabin, 2 showers per hall, and dinner is often yesterday's buffet leftovers. So next time your towels aren't folded into swans, just remember the human who might have slept on a mattress thinner than your yoga mat. The trash trail. Stewards have 10 minutes per room. If they're fishing pizza boxes out from under your bed, or peeling your wet towels off the balcony railing, Guess whose fresh towels show up after dinner instead of breakfast? Flip the script. Chuck obvious trash before you head to the buffet. Stack wet towels in one spot, clear the desk. Do it 3 days straight and you'll come back to towel monkeys. Extra shampoo, maybe even a chilled bottle of water and a note room 7282. Enjoy Cozumel. So here's the 2-for-1 spa trick. Spa staff, they work on commission. If you book the couple's massage at 6 p.m. on embarkation day, then just ask, any port day specials? Honestly, 9 times out of 10, they'll slash the price by 40%. Tip 20% in cash, and you'll both melt under hot stones for like half the brochure cost. Let's talk about the library key card. Library doors lock at midnight, but your room key still pops them open. Inside, there's this rack of board games nobody ever touches. So grab Scrabble and head to the aft lounge. You'll play under the stars in the quietest corner of the ship. Here's the scoop on the crew bar invite. Crew can sign in 1 passenger per cruise to their bar on deck 2. If you bring sealed snacks from port, like American candy they can't buy on board, well, 1 bag of Reese's buys you stories you'll be repeating at every dinner party for the next decade.
Cruising is one of the best ways to travel. But let's not kid ourselves, it's not exactly a bargain buffet. Even with deals and early bird specials, the costs can sneak up on you. Tips, drinks, souvenirs, add-ons you didn't know you needed. And the truth is, most of us are pretty good at wasting money without even realizing it. Before we dive in the sneaky money wasters we all fall victim to, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about the first place cruise money goes to die, the non-refundable deposit. It's tempting, isn't it? You see that low deposit offer. $50 to lock in your cruise? Sounds great. Until life happens, plans change, and you need to cancel. And that bargain suddenly becomes a donation to the cruise line's retirement fund. The catch is simple refundable deposits cost more upfront, but they save you the grief and the money later. Non-refundable deposits are fine if you're 100% sure, but let's be honest, when are any of us that sure months in advance? So next time you're tempted by the $50 hold my spot deal, ask yourself, am I booking a cruise or just flirting with the idea of one? Because if you cancel 3 maybes in a year, that's $150 gone, and not one step closer to a ship. Need cash on board? That'll be $8 from the ATM, plus whatever your bank charges for the privilege. Try using your credit card at the casino tables. That could be another 3 to 6% just to access your own money. It's a fee on top of a gamble. Not exactly a winning combo. Bring some cash or use the slot machine trick to charge your account with no fee. Just don't press your luck too far. The house always wins, especially on fees. Let me paint a picture. You're sitting at home weeks before your cruise. Cruise planner open, eyes wide with excitement. Snorkeling with turtles? Yes. Waterfall hike in St. Lucia? Absolutely. A cultural walking tour with a rum tasting at the end? Well, now we're talking. You book them all. Boom, boom, boom. But then, cruise day arrives. You board, you unpack, you enjoy your first buffet, and by day 2, you've officially entered what I like to call vacation inertia. You wake up the next morning with no intention of chasing waterfalls or any kind of turtle. You cancel nothing. You simply don't go. And those $300 in excursions? Bye-bye. Here's the thing. Cruise lines often require you to cancel 24 to 48 hours in advance to get a refund. After that, it's like that money took its own excursion and didn't come back. So if you're feeling ambitious pre-cruise, great, but leave room to rest and set a calendar reminder for those cancellation deadlines just in case reality hits harder than your first pina colada. If I had $1 for every overpriced, travel-sized item I've seen in a cruise gift shop, I could probably afford a sweet upgrade. Here's what happens. You pack in a rush, assume the cabin will have the basics, and suddenly find yourself holding a $17 bottle of sunscreen in your hand and wondering how SPF got so expensive. Sundries, yes, that odd old-fashioned word, include things like toothpaste, deodorant, sunscreen, aloe vera, motion sickness pills, and other not-so-fun but very necessary items. Cruise lines stock them in the gift shop, because they know we forget them. And when we're floating in the middle of the Caribbean with a sunburn and no aloe, well, they've got us right where they want us. But it's not their fault. They're providing a service. The best fix? Print yourself a packing checklist and make a little zip bag with all the tiny things you usually forget. It might just save you $50. And your dignity. There's something wonderfully ironic about getting home from your relaxing, budget-friendly cruise, only to be greeted by a $600 cell phone bill from your provider. All because you forgot to switch your phone to airplane mode. Yes, this really happens. And no, your cell phone company won't give you a cruise discount. What's worse is that your phone might silently connect to a maritime satellite network without you even noticing. One photo upload, one email refresh, one weather check, and you've just paid $23 for a single megabyte of data. The fix? It's painfully simple airplane mode on, Wi-Fi only. Most cruise lines offer decent internet packages now, and even if they're a little pricey, they're still better than roaming charges that could buy you another cruise. So before you even leave port, flip that switch. Your future self and your phone bill will thank you. Transportation is one of those sneaky expenses that adds up, especially when you're not planning ahead. I've heard so many stories from fellow cruisers who flew into the wrong airport thinking, it's only an hour away. Then they hop into an Uber, and suddenly they're paying $160 just to reach the port. Houston to Galveston, Orlando to Port Canaveral. It happens all the time. What most people don't realize is that cruise lines often offer transfer buses from the airport at a much lower rate. It's not glamorous. You'll wait a little. And yes, you might end up chatting with someone who brought a 3-foot inflatable flamingo, but you'll save a chunk of money and arrive with less stress. Even in port cities, many hotels offer cruise shuttles, and ports like Aruba or San Juan often have free public transport that takes you straight to town. So before you tap Request Ride, check the alternatives, because overpaying for transport is a waste you can 100% avoid. We all love cruise souvenirs. A t-shirt from Cozumel, a fridge magnet shaped like a flamingo, maybe even a handcrafted wooden turtle you swear is tasteful. But here's the sign you've gone too far. You're buying a duffel bag on board to fit the extras. Yes, cruise gift shops sell luggage, not because people lose theirs, but because they buy more than they can carry home. The markups? Not gentle. The quality? Let's just say, souvenir grade. If you tend to go a little overboard on shopping, pun fully intended, bring a foldable tote in your suitcase. It's light, cheap, and saves you from the embarrassment of checking a suitcase full of t-shirts and snow globes. And before you ask, no, the cruise line will not ship your 5th flamingo statue home for you. The drink package debate is as old as cruising itself. Is it worth it? Should I get one? Should I skip it? The answer, like most things in cruising, depends entirely on you. If you're someone who sips wine at dinner, has a cocktail at the show, and grabs a latte in the morning, it might be a great deal. But if you drink 3 glasses of water and a Diet Coke each day, you're pouring money down the drain. On the flip side, if you're going to pay for drinks individually, and you're enjoying 5 or more each day, you could be spending more than the cost of the package. Cruise lines don't make this easy. They bundle drinks, coffee, Wi-Fi, gratuities, then charge you like it's a luxury all-inclusive. So before you hit buy, take 5 minutes, do the math, and know your drinking habits. There's nothing worse than watching your bill grow faster than your cocktail count. Most of us assume nothing bad will happen on a cruise, and most of the time, we're right. But when something does happen, a fall, a sudden illness, a dental emergency at sea, it can get very expensive, very quickly. Medical centers on ships aren't included in your cruise fare. A visit can cost hundreds, a medevac, tens of thousands. One crew member told me about a passenger who had to be flown off the ship mid-cruise. No insurance, no backup plan. It nearly wiped out their savings. The solution? Get travel insurance. It's cheap compared to the potential costs. And there are plenty of sites like insuremytrip.com that let you compare quotes in minutes. And if you already have insurance, make sure it covers cruise-specific medical care. because not all plans do. Cruisers are generous people. We like to tip well, especially when the crew has gone above and beyond. But what happens all too often is we tip twice by accident. You get the bill at the bar, see a blank line for gratuity, and jot down a tip, not realizing the 18% service charge is already included. You meant to tip $3, you tipped $7. Then you did it again at dinner. Over a 7-day cruise, that can add up to a small fortune in bonus tipping, and not always where you intended it to go. Always read the fine print. If it says additional tip, that means the first one is already built in. Tip generously, but do it intentionally. I told you earlier I was guilty of 7 of these, and I am. I've lost deposits, skipped excursions, paid casino fees, forgotten essentials, double-tipped, bought extra luggage, and overpaid for transport. But hey, we live, we learn, we cruise again. What's your number? Let me know in the comments. And if this helped, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully saving you money before your next cruise.